I'm not on my computer, so I'm a little slow.
Or yeah, let's actually no, let's start there. That's a good place to start, I think.
Okay.
Page 76, if you're gonna
All right. Do we mute everybody? Or
uh
I'm going to
Martin
mute.
will let you know.
You're good to
Oh
go.
my God. Good to go.
Yeah, we're ready to roll.
All right. Welcome everybody to the.
Yes.
This is a reflection. It wasn't reflections on the steps. Now we're reading the big book and we're into action. We're going to be on page
76.
76, first
Yeah.
paragraph,
Second paragraph, really.
second paragraph.
Yeah.
And it's a question, answers, and
Not an AA meeting.
not an AA meeting. And it's not being posted or anything on, is it live on Facebook or anything? It is. Okay.
Can't you feel it?
Yeah. Yeah, that I get those butterflies.
You feel it. It's live.
So let's
Hmm.
see here. So we'll open it up afterwards for comments, questions, or just participation with what was read on Paul's take on this part in the book, right? So welcome. Thanks for coming, everybody. Good to see you, John.
You want
And
me to start reading?
you want me to read, Paul, or you want to
No,
read?
I'll read because then I'll stop when I want.
Okay,
Yeah, so
go for it.
obviously we have been in the section of the working steps, which is 4 through 9. So the inventory has been done. You've shared it with another person. You've gone home and sat for an hour to feel like you've done the best you can in the first 5 steps. And then we have just we're at step 6 and 7. And here we go. Well, the 6 is so when ready, we say something like this: My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my getting that house in Malibu. No, I'm sorry. Stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Mm, a different attitude, eh? Yeah. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. We have then completed step 7. So we admit we become entirely ready to have this stuff, this debris of our life and the manifestations of actually self in our life. We come to a point of willingness to have that removed, and we humbly ask that power that has got us sober and is keeping us sober to remove it. Yeah. So 6 and 7 become a big aspect of the maintenance of your daily design of living. Yeah. Because when you recognize stuff, you see it as other than you bring it to step 6 and 7. Yeah. And then a value that you may not be able to see can get extracted from it. And then that value will be returned to your life. Yeah. So that same energy that was causing an irritable restlessness and discontent will now bring an ease and comfort. Yeah. So it's like it's the recovery has one really big engine, which is recycling. Yeah. So we see the shit that used to defeat us, we turn it over to the care of this higher power. It extracts the juice that was captured in that defeat and returns it back to our life so that we can be helpful to others and be, let's say, an example of recovery. Yes? There you go. So here he goes. When ready, we say something like this: My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character. You're not in the removal business. Yeah. You observe and witness the removing, but you're not the one that removes it. Yeah. Yeah. which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. We have then completed step 7. So we did 6 and 7. Now we need more action, without which we find that faith without works is dead. Well, to me, the more action before we get to the next step is that 6 and 7 is going to be one of the biggest actions you do as you stay sober. Because more is revealed to us, and a lot of what is revealed to us is what has defeated us. Yeah. And when we recognize it, we're seeing it before the defeat. Yes. And what happens when you see it before the defeat, you bring it to step 6 and 7. Yeah. There you go. So you're walking around, somebody shares at a meeting, something about what they were saying hits you somewhere. Wow, that's interesting. I used to do the same freaking thing. And then you go, hey, I'm entirely ready to have this removed and or reconfigured, and you ask that power to do it right while you're sitting in the meeting. Yeah. Being in a meeting is not exempt from doing a step. Yeah. You can be doing the steps of 6 and 7 in meetings, because if you can't see it in you, you can see it in others. And if you see in others, it's potentially there in you. So whatever is recognized, I see it as foreign, I bring it to 6 and 7. Yeah. So, but this is in the beginning stages. So there's a very important part in the beginning stages, which is 8 and 9. Yeah. Because we haven't even seen what has defeated us after the defeat. We're still claiming the defeat as ours. Yeah. So basically, there's another, that these steps are necessary to produce an effect, which is steps 8 and 9. And so that's what we're going to do. So you're going to make a list by looking at the inventory of the people or the institutions or whatever that you need to make amends to. Yeah. And of course, you hope you're working with someone else. And also, there's a fine line of making amends that's going to hurt other people. So you've got to, yes, you get guided. So now we need more action, without which we find that faith without works is dead. Let's look at steps 8 and 9. We have a list of all persons we have harmed and to whom we are willing to make amends. So you get that out of the inventory process, and then there's some that haven't been seen in the inventory process, and you still catch them. Yes, you put them on that hook. Yeah, yeah. So we have a list of all persons we have harmed and to whom we are willing to make amends. We made it when we took inventory. We subjected ourselves to a drastic self-appraisal. I sure hope so. It wasn't an appraisal on you. It's an appraisal on self. Yeah. Yeah. It's an appraisal of the actor, not you. Yes. Yeah. We subjected ourselves to a drastic self-appraisal. We have now seen the exact nature of the wrong, and it is foreign to us. And if it's foreign to us, I can be free from it. And then you'll probably see you have been trying to be free as it for quite a while, and truly get the statement of self can't get out of self. Because we've done it, we've been living in that for quite a while. And you're going to see it. Yeah. You're going to see that's exactly what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to get out of self, unbeknownst to me, as self. I thought it was as Paul, but at that stage, Paul is AKA self. So when Paul's trying to get out of self and you take an x-ray, it comes back self trying to get out of self. No matter how much you beg to differ, take another x-ray. Paul getting out of self, the results are self getting out of self. And what do you run to at that moment? One of the greatest statements in our community: self can't get out of self. Does that mean you can't get out of self? No. It means self can't get out of self. But if you and self are bonded, Yes. You may be mistaking self as you and are attempting to get out of self as self. That's it. That's the diagnosis. So we subjected ourselves to a drastic self-appraisal. Now we go out to our fellows and repair the damage done in the past. We attempt to sweep away the debris which has accumulated out of our effort to live on self-will and run the show ourselves. Yeah. It may have used our effort, but we were not the cause. Yes. Something may have used our effort against us, basically. Yeah. If you believe you're playing God, it sure seems like you're being played by God quite a lot. Yeah. Yeah. And I believe something foreign to us is playing God on us with our godlike juice. Yeah. Yeah. So, let's see. Now we go out to our fellows and repair the damage done in the past. We attempt to sweep away the debris which has accumulated out of our effort to live on self-will and run the show ourselves. If we haven't the will to do this, we ask until it comes. Remember, it was agreed at the beginning we would go to any lengths for victory over alcohol. Oh, I hate that reminder. Oh, that's a drag. I forgot. I forgot I did the third step. I thought this was my inventory on me. Whatever. So we did this the other day, but it's good to reread it. So probably there are still some misgivings as we look over the list of business acquaintances and friends, and we have hurt. We may feel diffident about going to some of them on a spiritual basis. I would say, goddamn, I'm not going to do it. So if you were new and you're working with somebody, they made it easier through me. They gave me three categories: amends I'm never going to do, amends that are going to be hard for me to show up for, and things, oh yeah, I can do that. And I started with the easy ones. Unfortunately, most of the amends in the beginning found me. Yeah, it was amazing. I'd be driving in San Francisco. I see a guy walking who I owed money to. My first reaction was make a left and speed up. So AA, the principal AA, stopped me, and I'd pull over and I'd call the fucker over to the car and tell him, "Hey, I owe you $48 for that phone bill when you were a roommate with me. Here you go." Yeah. So I ran into a lot of amends that I thought I was successfully avoiding for years. It was incredible, eh? So, uh, remember, it was agreed at the beginning we would go to any lengths for victory over alcohol. Probably, here we go. We might prejudice them. Hold on. Let us be reassured. To some people, we need not and probably should not emphasize the spiritual feature on our first approach. We might prejudice them. All of this was a new thing. Yeah. Many of us have been in this community, and we've learned over the years to listen to a mentor or a sponsor, yeah, and just follow the suggestions. And this is part of learning how to face life successfully. We miss so many miracles in life because we've listened to the God playing's prediction of it's going to suck, yeah? We never even show up to see if it's what's going to happen because we have such a faith in the forecast of what's going to happen. This is really that spiritless servility to the disease, yes? Yes. I mean, aren't you captured? Most of the capture is the past, yes? You've had to buy, like, you had to rent like 5 storage units to just to put the past in there and then have to pay security so no one sees it. And the present moment space is occupied by the past for many of us. Yeah. And we're going to arrive at a point that we're not going to regret the past nor shut the door on it. Yeah. I do not see that you're not going to regret your past, but I do believe you can be brought to not regretting the past. Yeah. It's the ownership that keeps you bound to the past. It's not the past itself. It's your ownership of being the doer of all that shit you were driven to do. It's time to freaking stop wearing those shackles like jewelry. Yeah. Yeah. You may see a picture of you and you may love that picture of you, but that past is binding. Yeah. This is how the self is really, the bondage of self is mostly in time. It's in the past and worrying about the past appearing again in the future. Yeah. Yeah. How can we get out of this? By the help of this program, by really the higher power, through the auspices of the program. What do you need? A little willingness. And if you don't have any, pray to be willing. Yeah. So it just goes on. It's just a description of what to do. And one of the more important things is this is why you need someone to help you, is make sure that you're not going to produce more harm in getting something off your chest. That's a selfish type of view. It may not, you got to look at if I tell somebody this, it could affect their whole family. And it's, yeah. And again, also, when I did the inventory, I didn't try to go back and make amends to every one night stand. Yeah. I tried to make that a living amend. Yeah. Yeah. It was, if some was sprinkled around San Francisco, if I ran into them, I would. But basically, I wasn't going to go to Europe and make amends to someone who had forgotten me as quicker than I forgot them. I'm not that important in a way. Yeah. So, and then it goes on and on. I'm going to keep moving on here. Oh, now we go. I definitely want to move on from the criminal offense. Yeah. I had that criminal offense. And in my experience, it was in I'm not going to deal with it category. So I went over the stuff with the eighth step, my list with my sponsor, and I told them about these warrants, but I said, I'm not going to deal with them. And he said, all right, and I said, just not. And then the funny thing was, they were shelved, and my head was living on a surface level of forgetting it, but still paying rent for that space. And as I was living in the community, I met a girl. Her name was July, and that was a fake name because she was an assistant district attorney in San Francisco. And she wanted to go out with me. And of course, she checked my record before she was going to go out with me. And she saw the arrests. So, this thing that I was never going to confront and deal with about 8 months ago, she said, hey, I think I can help you with this. Do you want to deal with this shit? I said, yeah. And so she helped me through it. I had to go to court, but I didn't go to jail. I had to pay money, which I had some because I was working. Yeah. So it was amazing because 6 months before, I was never going to do it. 6 months being influenced by this higher power, I was willing to do it. Yeah. Now I wasn't doing it. And then life just brought the invitation on a silver platter. I got a district attorney willing to help me. So it goes on in this part. Uh, I don't think I want to read any of this anymore. But let's go to page 83, the bottom of it. Yeah, because this stuff is about how to deal with the mess. We're trying to look at the exact nature of the whole thing. And this is just a step-by-step way that you can read, and if you're working with another person, get a clear understanding. I'd rather go to another point on page 83, the bottom of it, which is if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, yeah, which being honest, yeah, and being willing, and then make the amends where you can. And a lot of stuff is going to be become what we call a living amends, yeah. Because first of all, if I had to go and make amends to my mother, it was just way too much, yeah. But I had the great gift that I was sober when my mother passed away, and I feel I have lived the way she would have wanted me to live. Yeah, for the last 30 something years. So to me, the living amends is quite important because that is going to show in your behavior as time goes by. So again, if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, so this is 6, 7, 8, and 9, we are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. I think they really were clear about putting this word new there. Yeah. Because the head is constantly trying to promise us a new freedom and a new happiness that ain't new. It isn't. It just sells the same shit and it says it's fresh, but it's the same shit. Yeah. But in this case, we are going to know. We're not going to be promised. We are actually going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. Yeah. This is why I love AA, many, many reasons. It delivers the goods. Yeah. This program delivers the goods. You may have only been in it for a day, but you were sober that day. Yeah. Yeah. The same principle that kept you sober that day has kept others here sober 37 years. Yeah. Yeah. So we are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. So we're now going into the famous promises. Yeah. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. I humbly believe that's almost impossible if you think it's your past and you are the doer of it all. Yeah. If you still believe you were the doer of what you were driven to do, it's going to be an uninvited guest in a day. Yeah. And it could be an uninvited guest for the rest of your life. You're sober, but this thing will fucking barge in, take a big dump on your living room, and you'll clean it up once again. Yes? So in this case, you've seen that which has defeated you is foreign to you, and you're accountable for what happened, and you have done all the amends, but you're not responsible for it. You were not the decisions that caused all this misfortune were based on self. They were not based on you. Yeah. So something did for you what you would never do but for yourself. Yeah. Something did through us shit we would never have come up with. Yes or no? Yes. So now we're having the same effect, but something is doing for us what we could never have done, and something used to do through us what we would never have done. Yes? Same movement, but the meaning of that movement is completely changed by what's directing the movement, self or the higher power. You may have a directions towards a higher power that's being guided by self. Yeah. Then the third step becomes it's a transaction. Yeah. You're willing to keep surrendered until something important comes up. And then it's up to you. You start managing and trying to control again. Please, as they reminded us, yeah, we entered a contract with a higher power, the third step. Yeah. We have turned our wills over to the care of that higher power. Watch what wants to grab it back. It's not you. It's self and that is what has defeated you. If you live in that surrender, you're going to turn into a state of surrendered. Yes? Yeah. All right. So we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. We did not know that. We believed we were useless and had no value, and my past had no value. Yet it is proven, yes, through this program that that which you saw having no value can a lot of value can be extracted from it. Yeah. Which it says right here, that feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. That hold, that chokehold is loosening. Yeah. That which was choking us, its power is weakening. Yeah. Because the power is now being distributed by a higher power. Yes. So that chokehold, you see those hands loosen up and they start falling away. Yes. Now you're on a whole new basis of life, the basis of trusting the infinite rather than finite self. And when you watch the head, trusting finite self, you bring that to 6 and 7. Yeah. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. This is a living, working miracle, isn't it? It's mind-boggling. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. They did not imagine this and write it. They observed these effects. The people who came before us observed these effects by following the same suggestions we're following now. This wasn't made up. It didn't start with, I hope this is going to be the case. No, they observed it is the case. Yeah. We are going to know a new freedom. We're not going to imagine it or hope for it. We're going to know it. And a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. I do not regret the past or shut the door on it. It was not a Herculean task. It was a simple understanding by recognizing what has defeated me. And what it defeated me with and wants to still defeat me with is the past. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. Many of us are in that condition right now. We will comprehend the word serenity. Yes. You've played that tune. So when you hear the tune, you recognize it. Yes. You have been introduced to serenity many, many times. Calamity was replaced with serenity. Yeah. When you didn't know, it didn't cause you to do something anyway. You could pause and wait for some fucking direction. Yeah. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others by doing service, by going to meetings. You'll see it. You'll see how your past has been put to great use. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. You'll see it as incredible selfishness. You will. You will see self-pity and the sense of uselessness as an arrogance, really. Yes. We will lose interest in selfish things. That's where everything pivots on. Everything pivots on the losing interest in self. Everything. Yeah. If one thing is going to be changed in your life, is the recognition of self as other than you. Because you are going to automatically start losing interest in it. And with the help of this program, it's going to be galvanized. Yeah. You will now have a sufficient loss of interest that will keep you sober a day at a time. Yeah. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. First, yeah. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations. When do you usually know how to handle situations? When you're in the situation. Intuitiveness isn't knowledge. It's a momentary download in a way. You're empty of your old ideas, so a new idea can come in. And then you act from that and you see it works. And now you start losing faith in the thought system and you have faith in the intuitive system. Yes. We will, in fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly, and this is the beauty of it, yeah, all the time, that God suddenly realized that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Every moment under this is a sudden realization because it's present. Yeah. It's not a memory. It's not a hope. It's what? Yes. So we had a guy here once. It was great in the early days of the Zoom from the UK. And we were talking about the third step prayer. And he would say the third step prayer every day. God, please relieve me of the bondage of self. And then when we were talking, he noticed that, wait a minute, I have been relieved from the bondage of self. So why am I praying for a future condition when I'm in the condition in the present? Wow, it was an incredible revelation. It happened like in 3 minutes. It was perfect. It was like a piece of coal realizing it's a diamond. Yeah, it was so cool. The coal hoping and praying to be a diamond, and then finally realizing it's a diamond already. Yes, yes. Suddenly is the present moment. Yes. Suddenly. Yeah. Yes. That's awakeness. Yeah. Awakeness is like that. Yeah. All right. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Please realize that self did through us shit that you would never have done by yourself. Use this same sentence and switch it from God to self so that the same reaction in the positive can be seen in the negative. Instead of you taking all the blame for the previous employer and giving all credit to new employer, let's give credit to where credit is due, to the old employer. You were driven. That means you were not the driver in that moment. Yes? 100 forms of shit moved you. You did not move you. So we will suddenly realize that self was doing for us, through us, what we would not do for ourselves. Change the sentence so that you realize, why is it so strange I can practice great gratitude to the higher power, but there's no accountability to the lower power? I'm taking the fall called all the past regret and guilt and shame for the lower power's effects. When are we going to be free from this shit? There's a door that's opened that this shit comes in. When you're 40 years sober, 50 years sober, 6 months sober, 6 hours sober. Yeah. Suddenly the past knocks and it comes right in. Yeah. Remember doing that? Remembered it? Yes, on and on. And it's like you put the handcuffs on yourself. They talk about it. Entertaining, harboring. We're giving the space for the resentments to thrive. Yeah. The nest is either the higher power or the self. Yes. Certain things cannot live in the self's nest. Compassion, gratitude, doing unto others as you would have done to yourself. They fucking die in that nest. What grows in that nest is self-centeredness, self-seeking and frightened. Fuck the others. I'm going to do whatever I want to get what I want at the expense of others. Who cares? Yeah. Yeah. That's what thrives there. Check out the nest. What are you relying on? Just tell the truth. Does intuition come before thought, or does thought just blare out the intuition? Yes. I have a feeling, but fuck that. The thoughts tell me to go ahead. You're going to start going with the feeling. Yeah. And hopefully you will observe the effects and see the witnessing of being placed in a new position. Yeah. With a new freedom and a new happiness. We have to honor the demonstrations of the higher power. The head loves to forget a miracle in about 20 minutes. It does. And just go over something that may not even ever happened 30 years. So, are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us. Yes, right now, right here. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize. What a guarantee, man. And AA delivers the goods. It does. It guarantees a lot of shit, and it does. It delivers it. They will always materialize if we work for them. Yeah. Yeah. I think definitely we stop there. Can you imagine any other disease that happens? And there was a book about that disease, and on one page of the book, it described an incredible, miraculous relief from that disease to the extent that the disease did not exist for you anymore, a day at a time. People would do almost anything to get in line for that. Yeah. Do you see that this is a disease of the mind? The person who may need it the most is interested in it the least. Yeah. That's not weird phenomena. That's manufactured. The parasite, when it has a great hold on you, has convinced you that the last thing you want is a solution to the parasite's effect. Yeah. And you'll fucking be right about it and argue about it and shit like that. Yeah. It's amazing. It's an amazing phenomena. Yeah. But again, you can go into deeper things. This is a subjective experience. And when the subjectiveness is being presented by self, uh, you may be the last one to know. Yeah. Yes. So, uh, see, uh, yeah. So that's the promises, step 9.
That's good, Paul.
So what triggers that is the steps. You've been the best you can, and the big guarantee is you're physically sober. Yeah. So all possibilities are on the table. When you get drunk again, the possibilities shrink immediately, which is you got to go to a meeting or something. But before you drink, the possibilities, there's a large space abounds. Yes? Yes. And as it says here, it is always going to materialize if you work for them. Yeah. I don't think when it says in the book, you have to be willing to go to any lengths. Any lengths may be a very short length or no length at all. Yeah. The head obviously pictures any lengths as a terrible ordeal. No, any length, it could be the easiest, softest way you've ever been introduced to. And if you're afraid of work, it disappears after a few years because that which you are trying to practice is in you now. Yeah. And you become a living example of the book. You are. That's why it's great to read this shit because it tingles everything inside. I've been through every one of these descriptions. Yeah. I've tasted the serenity and I know peace. Yeah. The ability to enjoy peace of mind is available. Yeah. I feel a conscious presence. I sense a power. I don't call it new anymore. I call it the power. Yeah. And all that. What a way to go. And here we just get together and share. And hopefully through the sharing, some certain points get galvanized. Yeah. They solidify so that you stop calling the manifestations that have defeated you yours, or all you're doing is calling for more defeat. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Anyone else?
All right, got
All
any
right, Kirk. Good. So
any
we all
hands?
know we ended at the promises. Yeah.
I don't see any hands. I had the same experience, very similar to yours. The first time I went through the steps in 1987, it was more effort. And then 15 years ago, when I went through the steps, it was more like amends wasn't like self-will. It was more like you said, people would show up. I had one guy that was he was a spotter pilot for fisheries. He flew a plane and he moved from Alaska. He used to be a roommate with me, and I could not find him. I didn't know where to look for him, and I said a prayer, and I literally got up. I was living on the Strand in Hermosa, and somebody knocked at the door. I walked down and opened the door, and it was him.
Uh,
And it was things like that that were like it wasn't self-will. Like it kind of was self-will the first time I did it. It was a skillful means to correct my life. You know, yeah, I think the 8 steps. There's a lot there. Yeah,
yeah. And the thing is, you have a whole new attitude and outlook.
yeah, totally.
So you're not going to know it by hearing about it. You're going to know it by sensing it, by having you feeling it's working in your life. Yeah. And there is a space before thought where intuition lies and wisdom and stuff like that. And a lot of times when the intuition triggers, it feels very sudden. Yeah. Because you didn't see it coming.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you start living like that more. And it could be a slower, like it says, it's sometimes slowly, sometimes quickly, but it's inexorably happening. Recovery is progressing. Yeah.
yeah. And pausing's counterintuitive because I'm so busy reacting to third column being triggered. Like I just totally had no conscious awareness of what was going on.
Well, yeah, but it was a gift. You didn't know how to pause, but
Yep.
you noticed the pause. And then
Yep.
you started knowing pause after it demonstrated, after it downloaded. If if you try to, without having a sense of a pause, describe a pause, it doesn't fucking work. Yes. I'm going to pause now. It doesn't work that way. It's not something you do.
Yeah.
It's before doing. And we now start listening to messages before doing and before thinking and before saying, yes, yeah. And there's a wisdom before that you can't find after. Yeah. There's limitations in thought. There is. But in the before, there's no limitation in the wisdom that can come from there. And we're just accessing a different outlet. Yes. The program plugs us into something that was unsuspected before, an unsuspected inner resource, what they call it. Yeah. And now, as an old toaster, you start making better toast. You can even maybe make some French toast and stuff like that. You're saying you're being surprised constantly uh, how life looks coming through you now, because it didn't look this way coming through the strain of self. Yes, 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 much brighter and yeah, like after a talk, every taste, every sense is heightened. Yeah, because we've rubbed shoulders with the higher power. Yeah. There's alert and then there's alert. Alert is, yeah, I like the word suddenly, alert, awake. It's an immediacy that the th thoughts can't get around. Yeah, they can't. Thoughts are always about shit. They're not specific at all. Yeah. But the suddenness of intuition is very, very clear. Yeah. And I used to go against it in a few years and I learned. I would do an inventory about it, something I wanted to do. The inventory would tell me, it would produce a different answer, and it would tell me, Paul, this probably isn't wise. And then I'd go ahead and keep doing it, and I'd get my ass fucking kicked. And I learned a lot. I did. The first few years, I learned to save my ass instead of my face. Yeah, it was amazing. And luckily, I never got drunk again. That would have set off a whole other ball game. Yeah. So I could, and what really blew my mind were emotional hangovers. Yeah. Shit that I would do every day to others that I would never even notice, when I was coking up and drinking. And then I'd act out when I was sober. And then I was stuck with like an emotional sobriety. I felt like shit for like 2 or 3 days. That was a big teaching aid. Yeah. I don't think many of us come to this with virtue. It's pragmatism, actually. I said, this sucks. I can't, if I do this, I'm going to feel like this for 3 days. I'm going to pray, please help me not to do that shit. It was a big process. It really was. But I mean, oh, you must have been felt that. You were just wrung out and you really put your foot in your mouth and it was, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
There's a great part in Bill's story where he's talking about Ebby coming to him and he's drinking. Now he's drunk, right? And
Yeah.
Ebby's, prophetized. And he says, I'm going to read it because it says, he said, okay, he said, he come to pass his experience onto me. If I cared to have it, I was shocked, but interested. Certainly, I was interested. I had to be. I was hopeless. So he's drinking, right? He talked for hours. And this is what I love. It said, childhood memories rose before me. I could almost hear the sound of the preacher's voice as I sat there on Sundays, way over there on the hillside. There was that pro-offered temperance pledge I never signed in this part. My grandfather's good-natured contempt of some church folk and their doings, his insistence that the spheres really had their music, but his denial of the preacher's right to tell him how he must listen, his fearlessness as he spoke of these things just before he died. These recollections welled up from the past. They made me swallow hard. Now he's drunk. That wartime day in old Winchester Cathedral came back. I mean, that's so descriptive of, he didn't think that stuff up while he was drinking at the table.
Of course not, because there's a whole lot of before the drunk.
Yeah.
And by the guy sharing, he got a whack before the drunk. Yeah.
I just love that part of the book.
A lot. That's where change occurs. Not after a lot of stuff, it's before a lot of stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Any hands? Anybody want to jump in? Don't see any.
Wow, great.
Oh yeah, we got one. Shannon.
Hey, sorry, Paul, I had to put my hand up. I had a situation where I totally didn't follow my intuition, and then it brought up a pattern of the past that kept playing out. And the first impulse was definitely just to like the of the self, like was just to play the victim of being like focus on my like issues or like is alcoholism isn't my issue, but I have like lots of other things that kind of fit into this. And it's just so interesting hearing you talk about with the amends. It's like the head does not want to admit that it's like it wants to keep explaining itself or having other people understand the perspective of why it happened rather than just being like and maybe because there's still so much claiming with it and the shame or the embarrassment of it is too much. I'm not sure, but it's just interesting to see.
Yes. Well, that's the idea. You may be driven by something that's wanting to save its face at the expense of your ass. Yeah. That's that's not a stable basis to live from. So I needed an anatomy class. I had to recognize what's my ass and what's my face, because I was believing I was my face. Yeah. Yeah. At the expense of the ass. So it's great. So what came up, just bring it to step 6 and 7 and have it recycled. Yeah. Yeah. That's just, you don't, in a way, you don't get a used life. You get it's recycled. Yes. It's recycled. You just put it through this process with a little bit of willingness. That's all that's necessary. The higher power will supply most of the detergent. Yeah. And you get in there and stuff gets reclaimed. That's why it's called recovery. Yeah. You recover conditions that were available before that seem not to be available now. Yeah. And sometimes quickly or slowly, they are revealed to be available again. Yeah. So if you see the pattern and don't get into the particular story, like the rationalizing and everything like that, and bring that pattern to 6 and 7, there's more effect by changing patterns than particulars, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. The head would like everyone to concentrate on the particular one. Don't you see? Blah, blah, blah. But the pattern of the defeat has a lot of value. Yes. So that is knowledge of self, is when you see the pattern of its defeating you. Yeah. Yep. Nice to see you, Shannon. And remember, next time I'm with you, you better pass the guacamole. Yeah. No bogarting the guacamole. All right. All right. Uh, anyone else?
That's a major sin right there.
Well, yes, yes, yes. I noticed one of her patterns. They're not yours. She was very gracious with the guacamole, but she did like it quite a lot. Anyone else? No? Well, we
Anybody
can
else?
start saying goodbye.
Yeah,
A
we're 11.
beautiful point to stop at, which is step 9. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always being cooked. That perfume is always being spread. The statements that they speak about. They were mind-boggling, weren't you? When you were introduced to it first in the program, someone would talk about these 9-step promises. Usually there's promises everywhere, but most people would, when you're new, you hear about the 9-step promises. Yeah. And you're like, what? what the fuck? And it's amazing that if you stay in the process and stuff, you can live those promises. You observe them happening in your own life. It's awesome, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to see if the solution feels familiar or common, the defeat is also common. Yes. So the solution that we all go through that seems similar is because we're getting relief from a very specific problem, which is we call it self. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes. So this is why they wrote this about their the effects of the solution in their lives, and it seems to be exactly like the effects in of the solution in our lives, because it wasn't the unique life of everyone. It's the life that had been commonly taken over by self. Yeah. Called alcoholism and addiction. Yeah. So, yeah, yeah. So they could share it in 1939, and it's just as applicable now, 2025. Anyone else or no? Zoe B dropping in. Nice to see you. You're not in your usual format there. Are you in America? No.
No,
No.
I'm in Spain.
Oh, Spain. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And the thing, I was doing something on the iPad and it popped up, Paul Hedderman,
Oh,
live stream.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
This is the other side, the recovery side of the
I
Zoom.
love it. All of it.
All right, good, good, good.
Good
Yeah,
to see you.
good to see you. Yeah. All right, so we have Shannon. Shannon is blinded by the lovely light coming from above her. Yeah. Hmm. Kerry, as always, you feeling good, better?
I'm feeling fantastico. Thank
Okay,
you.
good, good,
Yes.
great. Barbara and Vlad, now this is a very strange seasoning,
Hey.
much more different than even salt and pepper. It's very
Like
Uh,
oysters and chocolate.
oysters and chocolate. Wow, yeah. Well, nice to see both of you.
Yeah, nice to see
Great,
you.
great. Thank you for dropping in. I
Thank
hope
you.
all's going well there, right, Vlad, and everything?
Yeah, all good, all good.
You're lucky to be in the hands of Vlad, Barbara.
Yeah.
He's going to give you a royal tour. Yes,
It's really beautiful here.
yes, great. So, all right, Rico Cruz, a man of his word. Nice to see you. Kathleen, as always. Miak, I can see it. I can see the palm tree that's from outside. Kurt Z, nice to see you, Kurt. You seem to be you feeling well physically? Great. Martin, our main man. Colin, nice to see you. John S. in Florida, as always. Tom in Kentucky. Nice to see Tom. Brian. Matthew, UK. Jess in Ireland. Oh, Jess. Just take a little hop, skip, and a jump, and you'll be with Vlad and Barbara. Wow. Joseph, our man in France. Sean. We all warm. B something. I didn't see the end. Stephen Mack. Zoe, pleasure. Mickey, as always. Oliver. Gabe, on the move. Andy. Andy Gardner. Nice to see you. Rick Rowe, Toronto. Tom Lazade, Tacoma. Hey, listen, thanks you, everyone. Had a lovely time. We'll be here Saturday, hopefully. Uh, Fantastic. Thank you. Yes, yes.
Well,
Bye-bye.